Welcome everybody. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Additions to the agenda tonight, I have 3. Under new business number 9, Select Board Secretary resignation. New business number 10, historian's use of space to hold a sale on election day. And old business number 3, Windham Regional Council Broadband project update.
So moved.
Moved and seconded to add those 3 items. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Open public comments regarding agenda items only. Yes, we don't have any department and committee reports. We don't have any regular meeting minutes. Approval from January 7th, please.
January 2nd. Under salvage yard, should we bold the motion like the rest of the motions usually are? It's really all I
Okay. Any other corrections? I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the minutes as corrected. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Bills and warrants, please.
Okay, I move that we approve payment of the following warrant. 15T accounts payable, $64,851.79. 1S payroll, $8,430.37. 2S payroll, $7,326.15.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the bills and warrants as read. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Town sand pile discussion. So it was requested by David to put a concrete barrier, I believe, or something to that effect in front of the town sand pile to not allow, I guess, commercial loads of sand with a tractor or what have you, to help in not depleting the town's pile. So what are our thoughts? Chris, we'll start with you.
I had said as long as it does not impede traffic or cause residents to have to park in the church parking lot and cross the street right there, that is fine. I did speak with David about it. He said there was a couple of people that had stopped down and loaded their trucks up with tractors, and that was what the issue was. I am curious, it was also brought up that the people that are plowing for elderly assistance are also utilizing that. And I didn't know how that worked because they are getting paid. So that switches that into a commercial, is my thought on that. No longer is a town use if they're being paid for that.
Sure. Jeff?
Guess I'm not really sure what the original intent was. I guess I'm not sure what other municipalities do as far as allowing residents just to come and get sand. It just seems like kind of an odd thing to do for residents. I buy my own sand to sand my own place. So I guess without really knowing the history behind it and questioning David, what I reserve my opinion at this point. But I don't think it's quite right. You know, as Chris said, if somebody is bringing a loader tractor in and filling up for commercial reasons, I don't think that complies with the original intent of allowing residents to have access to sand.
Okay. Sandy?
I agree with that part of it, but there are those that go down because they're residents with a tractor to get it. So I kind of reserved on whether we should do it or not.
Okay. Jean?
The elderly assistants, I feel as if they're really just getting paid for their labor, because it's not like they're charging for sand, per se, you know?
How much are they charging, how much do they get paid?
Cindy knows
Well,
that.
For just for sanding alone, it's $20.
So they're getting paid $20 to sand with the town sand that the residents are paying for. I don't
and the
think that
people
that's
are
right.
residents, but you know, they've gotta go get the sand, they gotta go back and spread it, so there's labor involved there.
Yeah, but if you were gonna plow commercially, you would have to go down to Lane and pay for your own sand if you're going to charge your client that. So my opinion would be if you're gonna be sanding with the town sand, that you can't charge for that, and we shouldn't be paying you for
I
that.
don't think that, what I'm saying, I don't think they're charging for the sand. I think they're charging for the labor
Yeah.
to do the sanding, which is justified to me.
Yeah, they're not charging for the sand because they get it free. So why should they turn around and charge? But
Right.
I think,
And it's for the residents.
but I'm not gonna put words in Chris's mouth, but, probably a cleaner way to account for it is to, whoever's doing the sanding to charge the elderly assistance fund for materials for the sand.
Well, that still comes out of the same
Well,
pocket.
sure it does, but like I said, it's a cleaner way to do it though.
Yeah.
And how much do they get paid for the plowing?
I believe it's 40 for plowing alone. It's 50 for plowing and shoveling. It's 20 for sanding.
So I don't have anybody plow or shovel or sand my driveway. Is that pretty standard? It's not like the elderly assistance is getting a break because it's a cheap rate, or I don't know. I'm asking a question, not
I
making a statement.
I don't know what the
I'm not
going
sure.
rate is.
I'd be curious if anybody pays for plowing and what that looks like.
Plowing for
We
plowing.
put in plowing.
And for your driveway, I mean, that's a straight shot, what are we talking there? What do you pay somebody to plow that?
Well, the person that we have plowing has plowed us for umpteen years, so we get a break.
Fair enough.
But it's $20 a plowing.
You got a
Great
break.
deal. It's a very
When I
good
first
deal.
moved here 11 years ago, I was paying Carrie Tyler $60 a plow. That was 10 or 11 years ago. I don't know what it is now because I'm on the elderly assistance board thing.
Yeah, I know last year I think I was paying 35. I don't know what the rate is this
Yeah.
year, so it kind of seems like they're right in the ballpark. It's not like they're getting a huge break to the elderly assistants to do the work.
And also, I believe that like Brattleboro has a sand pile for
They do.
residents, and I'm not sure of other towns, but,
Yeah, Brattleboro has a thing, only Brattleboro residents.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the
And
high
that's
school.
what ours is supposed to be, only Vernon residents.
And I don't know if it's at all feasible that if he were to put that up there so that it is just foot traffic in and out of there, and then during regular business hours, if you needed more, you would have to talk to David and actually go into the yard and get that. As long as you're still a resident and David knows what's going on, I don't know if that would curb any of the
Down.
excess that's leaving, yeah.
Down behind.
This resurfaces every few years if there's a complaint like this.
Well,
They're right.
there wasn't necessarily a complaint. It was a concern coming from David, who watches that pile and is obviously seeing us going through more sand than we have in years past because he hasn't brought it up.
I did
No,
see it,
until
I
now.
did myself, I saw a green tractor there, and it was getting sand out of the pile there.
Yeah.
To load, I just think that tractor.
So obviously he has some concerns about
Right.
additional cost to his budget. And
And the concern wasn't so much that they're dumping into a pickup truck. They're filling up a hopper on a sander that is
Right,
then
Oh, yeah.
going out and they're making money off from it. So elderly assistance aside, I mean,
right,
that's what David's issue with this is.
right.
Yeah.
So,
But
Does-
there's a lot of little tractors go down there and get
Yeah.
sand, which kind of.
and that's the incident where I'm wondering if maybe that's something that we have to work with David on. And if
Yeah.
you need that sand, then the gate is open and you guys can work that out. But the rest of it should kind of be reserved for buckets and shovels. And the other side to it is, how much does a load of sand that we're dumping there cost? Because I think you can go down, to fill a sander at Wayne is less than $20, isn't it? I think. So I don't know, I thought
I don't
that's
know,
what one of the classes was saying.
Pile of it.
So I guess kind of the general consensus that I'm getting, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, is that we would like David to move forward with putting that concrete barrier up and then work with those folks that, utilize small tractors and things like that to get their sand from the larger pile.
I think that's fair enough.
Does that make sense?
I just hope the traffic doesn't, I didn't really visualize it, but I just don't want people into 142 more,
Hmm.
Okay, so that's the direction we want to give David? Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Better than doing away with the whole thing. Totally.
okay. So there's a resolution on that. Great. All right, approve town meeting warning and articles. And you see the note on that, consider additional funding for recruitment.
All done.
Okay, so just to go through some of the changes that have happened, in addition to the recruitment that we had talked about, that's about, estimated $5,500 to $6,500. That's not in the budget right now that you all approved. If you wanted to add that, now would be the time to do it because it's going to change that article by $6,500. Additionally, in the article, some changes. We were talking about what to put in the solid waste fund, waiting to the last minute in case the pay-as-you-throw is approved to have somewhere to grab from if it's a negative at the end of the year. Or if they decide to get rid of it and pay off the negative balance, where that money would come from. So Cindy estimated about $8,000 would cover it. So I added $8,000 to the solid waste article. So now it's at 108. And you can change any of these at this point.
It's Article 15 if you're trying to find it.
The Farmland Protection Committee reached out and they had a meeting and voted to reduce their request from $20,000 to $15,000. So that is Article number 28. And we can't sign this really tonight anyways, because petitions aren't all in yet. And then the Lister article changed a little bit based on Larry's recommendation, that we don't need to have a board of listers if you hire an assessor. But it does need to be done by paper ballot from the floor during town meeting. And we do have one petition in for that election, for the Lister election. So you were gonna talk about whether you wanted to keep that in or not. That's where all of these stand right now.
Okay. Let's start with the funding for recruitment. I believe the last time we went through the recruitment process, it was around $6,000 through VLCT. So I would suggest we probably go with their higher figure. They said 55 to 65 for budgeting purposes, if that's what we want to do. So we would need to amend, it's Article 4, right? To be $6,500 higher and add the that recruitment into I think it's the select board budget is where that recruitment line
For the
sits.
hiring.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
Jean?
Yes.
Chris? Okay.
And along those lines, would you like me to have her call in at your next meeting, your meeting after, just so I can set up an appointment for?
Probably call as soon as possible, so next meeting,
Next meeting, okay.
yeah. Just so we can get things rolling. The other changes, the solid waste fund, that makes sense to everybody, increasing that by 8,000 to cover the loss in pay-as-you-throw. Okay, and then the reduction in the farmland, I'm assuming nobody has any issue with that. Okay. Do we have questions on any other articles that are out there? Yeah.
You have an article number 17. Shall the voters establish an emergency repair replacement fund to cover urgent unbudgeted items or expenses for the repair or replacement of town property and or equipment over $500?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have an article putting any money in the fund.
Oh, right, that's just great, yeah. Establishing the fund.
It's another pay-as-you-throw thing all over again.
Which article number is that?
17.
17 is the one I was reading.
Establishes the fund,
It establishes a fund, but there's no money in it.
with no money.
So $10,000 in there still, right?
Yes, I think so. Everybody's happy with that?
Are you going to make a separate article for that?
Yes.
That's all right.
Any other questions, comments, concerns on the articles as we have them drafted here? Chris? Jeff? Sandy?
I gave Michelle mine on 29.
Okay. I think that's on the agenda to talk about later, I think. And
Yeah.
okay.
As
Do you
far as the
wanna-
article though, she wants me to put in the article what
What the changes are.
which is just gonna make this really long.
Well, won't he can explain that though.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let
But
me
when you-
put it in.
but in the town records, you're not gonna have the town report. You're gonna have this, and you're gonna have the minutes, so you wanna put what they're changing the two in the article. Because 10 years from now, you're gonna look and say, well,
What were the
what
changes?
were you amending it to?
Couldn't they go back and look at the Cusick policy change?
But
Like the actual policy itself to see what those changes were?
it should be, this is a town meeting, so it should be
Mhm.
with the town meeting minutes
Okay.
and the town records.
Because those requirements are all in the
Put it
town
in.
report.
But don't have the town report and the town records.
Right.
Okay, so we're
She's
gonna.
gonna check with Larry on that anyway.
We're gonna discuss this down the line about what the possible changes are to this Cusick Scholarship Fund, but if for those of you that didn't hear it, because Sandy has a very mild voice, there's some changes that are being proposed to this Cusick Scholarship Fund that will be presented at town meeting through Article number 29, and spelling those out in the article versus just having a general article and then spelling it out at town meeting. So, I think I already asked you, you got your change, anything for the rest of the articles?
No.
Okay, great. Amend resolution for municipal planning grant. So designate a municipal authorizing.
Oh, wait, just for clarification.
Yep.
So, after I get all of these back from Larry, the petitions are all in, I'll email all of you to come sign it. So you need to vote that this is, with these changes, that it's good.
Okay.
So,
Second.
So moved and seconded to accept the town meeting warning and articles as corrected tonight. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so we got that done. So the resolution from the municipal planning grant designated municipal authorizing official, meaning one of us, to help in the municipal planning grant process.
This isn't really to help with the process. There needs to be an authorizing individual who says, yes, give us the check. We're ready for the money. The planning commission has designated Martin Linkeveld and Bob Spencer to help with managing the grant. We just got our first disbursement approved for that grant. But it's more a matter of, it has to be a select board member or a town manager or town administrator who's the authorizing official that says the final, yes, we're ready to take this money back, and yes, all of this is true, all this documentation when you submit the report, that kind of thing.
That cannot be the treasurer.
You cannot do the treasurer.
So I would make a suggestion. I'm not sure that you would be able to be that authorizing official because you're on the planning commission. I don't know if there's a conflict there,
I was gonna volunteer
but
just because, but I don't know.
then you're in as far as I'm concerned.
Same here.
Yeah. Great idea.
I just want,
You
I
don't-
just want,
You don't often hear
was
people
headed your way.
volunteering. If you want to,
I just didn't want to ask you because you're on the planning commission. I didn't know how you felt about a conflict of it. I don't think there is. I just wanted,
as long as I don't have to do anything.
Second.
moved and seconded to appoint Jeff as the designated authorizing official for the municipal planning grant. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Who moved it, who seconded it?
Abstain.
I move.
Chris was
Gene
a
can
little
have,
ahead of
oh, look at, you're so giving today.
All right.
Chris.
And you can, it'd be great if you could name an alternate.
Gene, oh, sorry.
Is that an emotion?
I'll second it.
Awesome.
So moved and seconded to add Jean as the alternate.
If something happens to me.
Yeah, if you get hit by a bus on the way home, as the alternate authorizing
No, we
official
hope.
for the municipal planning grant, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Great.
Okay, I need signatures on that.
Sorry, Gene, that just came right out.
I'm waiting, okay, you wait. So this you? No. Yes.
Yes.
This, just outside.
Yes, the legislative body.
I'm not signing next to CEO.
Do we have, we don't have a CEO.
It says we do.
I think we're supposed to sign over here.
Oh. His name,
Signature.
signature. Oh, name is.
Name is printed probably.
Oh.
Signature, cursive.
Sorry.
We'll keep going as we're passing that around. Planning Commission, Economic Development Commission resignation from Jessica Hurt. I would like somebody to make a motion to accept her resignation. I do know, well, let's just do that and I'll make my comment.
Will we accept your resignation with regrets?
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the resignation with regrets. As a side note, the Planning Commission does have a person that's interested that attended the last Planning Commission meeting. So I expect maybe at our next meeting or the meeting following that we will be accepting that person coming in, which is great. All right, so that's accepted. So the NDCAP
We
seat,
didn't vote.
oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor of accepting Jessica Freeman Erb's resignation from the Planning Economic Development Commission, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed? Okay, great, thank you. Thank you for catching that. NDCAP Vernon seat. So NDCAP, for those of you that don't know, is the Nuclear Decommissioning Citizens Advisory Panel. Michael Root has been our appointed Vernon seat for NDCAP for, I don't know, maybe a year or two at this point. He's resigning from that position, and Madeline Arms has decided that she would like to take his seat in his absence. So I would entertain a motion to accept Michael's resignation and appoint Madeline Arms.
So moved. Second.
So moved by Jeff, seconded by Sandy, because I saw you shaking your head. To accept Michael Root's resignation from NDCAP and appoint Madeline Arms. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So I will get that to Anthony Wachinski, so we can get him on, or her on record. Accept changes to the Cusick Scholarship Fund.
I can point out the change is really
Yeah.
in number 4. Everybody has the requirements. It was $1,000 per applicant. The fund hasn't been funded at town meeting the last couple of town meetings, last 3, I think. So they don't have necessarily. So you have 2 choices. You can either set an amount of money in this requirement, which if you're not going to fund it every year, I really wouldn't suggest doing that. So number 4 just has that the number of recipients and how much is given will be determined by the money that's available. And the select board is the Cusick Scholarship Committee and the town clerk. So,
Really? I've never been involved in that.
No, it's the chair,
It's the
the
chair.
town clerk,
Yeah.
and the principal at Vernon Elementary.
okay.
Those are the 3.
I don't get involved in this either.
Yeah. I do. So,
Chair of the school board?
Yeah, the chair of the school
chair of
board.
the school board, Mary Ross as the principal has joined us, myself and Tim.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Well, I agree with number 4 as it's written.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll break that up per Larry's instructions in the article.
Let's make a motion to accept that, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Jeff moved. Jeff moved it already, sorry.
Second.
We'll take Sandy's second. To accept the changes to the Cusick Scholarship as written. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
And you are supposed to review this every 5 years as a select board for the requirements.
Any record of
So there's
the last
no-
time that it was done?
I do.
No idea.
Good for 5 more years, just keep it in the back of your mind.
I know we've talked about it before in the past, just to try to determine what to do with it since it's not being funded. There was talk of having an actual scholarship contest at some point where instead of just, I'm a Vernon resident, give me money, that the kids would write some sort of, this is why I love my town, or these are the things that I want to see going forward for the town of Vernon.
Similar to other scholarship.
Yeah, very
And now
similar.
is your chance to make those changes.
So, or
Well,
we
if
can
you
just
want
say
to make
you're a
it-
Vernon resident, and instead of getting $1,000, you get $500 because that's all we have left in the fund is to, give you little chunks here and there.
But his change did say
He did suggest saying
an
500.
essay and letters of recommendation.
Yeah. So, maybe something that we revisit next year and determine whether it's something that we want to turn into a scholarship contest versus just being a Vernon resident as the requirements.
I agree with waiting.
Okay.
So for this year, it's good.
Let it ride as it is. Okay. We need to go into executive session regarding Diaello versus Vernon.
Mr. Chairman, I move to find that premature general public knowledge of the pending litigation of Diaello versus Vernon will clearly place the town at a substantial disadvantage by disclosing its negotiation strategy.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session.
Now to find
Or, excuse me, say that again?
find premature general public knowledge.
Yes, to find premature general public knowledge. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
I move we enter executive session to discuss the pending litigation with Diaello versus Vernon under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of Vermont statutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? We are in executive session at 7 o'clock. All right. We went into executive session at 7 o'clock, out at 7:24. No action was taken.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we go into executive session on appointment or employment evaluation of interim town manager per 1 VSA 3133A3.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are in executive session at 7:26. All right, we went into executive session at 7:26 PM, out at 7:34. No action was taken. The next item on the agenda is our own Michelle Milrick. Our select board secretary has put in her resignation effective the end of this month. So we need to accept that resignation.
I move we accept it with regrets.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the resignation of our select board secretary, Michelle Milrick. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, historians.
So what would you like me to put an ad in the paper for a new select board secretary?
Unless anybody's got any bright ideas.
Because you're gonna have a meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yes.
So I would suggest, instead of putting it in the reformer, former employer, putting it on Indeed.com.
What is that?
It's a free website that gets a
Is it
significant
free?
amount of, yes it is.
It is free, okay.
I utilize it for Leader all the time.
Okay.
Could we also have Mark add that to the unofficial
Yes.
town website?
Yep. Post, once we have
Oh, yeah.
once we have it, we can post it on Facebook and get it up on the app.
Do you just want the same one that we did last time, the same ad?
Yes, that's fine.
Front Porch Forum also.
Yep. So that is all free advertising, and like I said, I do very well with Indeed in my real life. So historians use the space to hold sale on election day.
I move we allow them to.
Second.
Moved and seconded to allow the historians use the space on election day for a bake sale or whatever they're doing. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Great. All right, census boundary approval.
So I'll have to approve this. And it is, no, it's a new business. It is a map of Vernon. As far as I can tell, it is a map of Vernon. We have to approve that as the census boundary.
Oh, okay.
That's in the white. Correct.
So if you want.
So if you look at it,
Here's Broadband.
so if you look at it against our map on the wall there, it is consistent.
So is this an opportunity, I think we ought to move the western boundary of Vernon further west.
When is the
Do
census?
you wanna see these other ones? Officially April, I believe.
That was
That's the wrong spot. It's not there.
No, it's not.
What?
It's up further.
That's Jeff's land.
Yeah, that's Jeff's land.
Give that to Mass.
Back row.
No, if you look
You
at,
wanna change states?
That's right across here.
That's fine with
Yeah.
me.
oh, on the
Well, that's
bigger
right.
map, it has.
It doesn't go down,
Miller's
it's not a
Airfield
good map.
down
It
here
doesn't go down to
on
your
his
home.
property.
What?
So we
There's a
approve that, so you're gonna have an
southern
airstrip down there.
Okay.
Okay.
And ended at the Pleasure Airfield.
Be an air traffic controller.
You could. Go out there with glow sticks.
Yeah. Okay, it's safe.
All right.
So just so you see.
I'm happy with the boundaries. Are you guys happy with the boundaries?
Yeah, if we can't change
The
them.
southern one, this one with the southern.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't take Guilford or the river over in
This
this
is the
meeting.
largest, sure. It's not
Pay
really
for a
that.
bridge.
That's a good thing.
You don't remember what it's like when it was open. Used to go through it for a while.
Mr. Chairman, I move we sign the initial boundary evaluation program as the legal boundary for our government is correct.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the census boundary. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ordinance enforcement,
So I did hear back from the health officer. He is not interested in being able to do this. He's got the health ordinances that he works with, and that's it. So as far as people on this list right now, and your interim can take this to the next step, but you need to name a different custodial official, which would be the person in the office that's making sure the records are just filed.
Did you table this then?
I would do that.
so we would like to table this? Yes, yes?
Yes.
Table it.
Okay. So we will table the ordinance enforcement and the appointing. Chris has asked us to table the emergency services billing as well for tonight. Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Great. Windham Regional Council Broadband Project Update, please and thank you.
Thank you very much. It was an interesting meeting. I learned a lot about a lot of towns. If it's all right with you, I'm gonna read what I sent you, Josh and Michelle, in, there's some edits, but it's easier for me because I had put
Sure.
my thoughts out.
Yep. That's what you sent us this afternoon, right?
Yesterday, but yeah.
Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
I don't remember.
The timeline for this project has been mandated by the Vermont legislature to be 6 months, starting last Monday, not yesterday. And there is a lot to be done in a short time, beginning with a survey of residents of participating towns, including Vernon. The ultimate purpose of the project is to make recommendations to the legislature to ensure that all of Windham County and Vermont is covered by fiber optics. The first part of this will be a survey to collect data by March 17th, so the timeline is really, really short. I would like the select board's permission, and in my email I said to set up a table at the back of the hall during town meeting. I really want to change that to a place that you recommend. And it maybe not during town meeting, but during breaks. And also downstairs in the town office, during election day, on Tuesday. I know now we have the historians, the Girl Scouts, and just a small table somewhere, so that we can ask voters to the survey would ask them about their current cable coverage and future needs. Representatives of participating towns will be meeting February 6th which is after your next select board meeting, to finalize the survey. So we haven't even seen the content of the survey yet. Another part, one of the reasons for the survey, another reason is to educate participating towns, voters, about current technology and also future needs. And Vernon is currently, as we all know, Vernon is currently well-served for today's technology. Our concern is and should be for the future. We will not be attractive to new home buyers and businesses as we currently are, which is why we should participate. Boy, that's confusing. And we need also to find the pockets, and there are pockets of Vernon that are not served. There's some places that have DSL, dial-up. I know of two, and there's especially to prepare for future needs. There are a lot of towns participating that don't have what we have, and they'll be served first, and then. But I think we need to be ready to find ways to fund this ourselves if we're going to prepare for future needs. Where am I? Okay, in addition to tabling, we would like to advertise this, we will plan to advertise the survey on Facebook, Front Porch Forum, the newsletter, and the unofficial website. We also hope to put surveys in the library and the town clerk's office. We'll have to talk to those two places. And to send, and I also want to talk to the school, to send them home in their packets. A lot of towns will be putting it as a article, but it seems a little backward to me because we'll be tabling during the time, and the article will probably, so that's why we didn't ask for an article. And we also would like a select board liaison to work with us, or with me. I'm the official and he's my backup. Is there anything else I've missed?
Yeah, just basically, the idea of the survey is to figure out the feasibility of what needs to be done in order to bring high-speed internet. The survey will have a take rate survey. In other words, how many houses and at what price they're willing to pay, an analysis of the underserved and unserved areas, an idea of what you said, bandwidth need for now and for the future. Then this will discuss deployment and methods of doing it, whether it's the Communications Union District or the CUD, how that, if the legislature puts together a certain number of people, the towns want to be, say we joined with Halifax and Guilford to create a district, and how that would be deployed, what's the most effective and how be paid for, whether it's private, whether it's public, whether it's a public-private organization, whether it's connected to EC Fiber, which is very successful in the Upper Valley, and how to decide which are the best CUDs to put together, and an estimate. The basic estimate basically is it costs $30,000 a mile. When we did this before and had a study, we know that basically that it would cost $2 million to wire the town. We know that Velco has a lot of open internet access that they are interested in using. They only use it using 15% of their network, and they don't know what to do with the rest of it. That'll be the feasibility, and then it'll move on from there to create business models to work it. As you probably know, it is not allowed by the state to use tax funds. It has to be revenue bonds to pay for it. There are grants and loans and that sort of thing. The idea is to figure out the best way to feasibly bring all of us, because we say we're well-served, in 3 years we won't be. I mean, we literally, it's going faster than we can. And the value to the town in getting people to live here and increasing the home values and business values for being here by having an internet that is ready for the future will be very attractive. That's the selling point. But the main thing is to figure out what's the best way to do it. And that's what the CUDs, this feasibility study, the 6-month study, they would like to have a 35% return. That's huge to do in 1 month. So we're going to need, if we're going to do this survey, it's going to have a lot of input. We're going to have to, we're talking about getting all the school buses that are at the high school, handing them out and saying, bring this back tomorrow from your parents, or going to the rec department and going to the games and catching people. It's not going to be, and we're willing to do that. It's not, but obviously the more volunteers and the more people get involved, the better the study and the better for the town.
And the project won't cost the town anything.
Some printing.
Well, I'm willing to donate a couple of reams of paper and we'll figure out the printing.
So what you're looking for us tonight is approval to have a space at, on election day and at town meeting somewhere, which I don't know.
You know, Senator Doyle used to put out a survey, and it was on the table, and you filled it out and then just passed it back into the town clerk. And you came, and it was a little bit of the papers you picked up. You might want to have one of those when you come in, so they'll pick it up, everybody that comes will pick it up.
And have Tim announce it?
Mhm.
And a brief description of why this is important.
Right.
The whole project is, that part of the project is also educational, because when we did the survey from the fiber optic subcommittee, it wasn't anywhere near as exhaustive as this is going to be, exhaustive and exhausting. And people did not understand, very happy with what we had then, and that's really outdated. It's going to be outdated, as Munson said, very quickly.
So the other thing that I would suggest is, I don't know if Sarah Coffey has plans to come visit us at town meeting and do, the typical political spiel that we get from our Senate representation, the House of Representation, but obviously she's well involved in this, so maybe as part of her, if she plans on attending town meeting and taking a few minutes to speak, maybe she can touch on that as well, and let the people in town meeting know that they can come pick up the survey from you in the back corner or whatever we decide to do.
It would also be very helpful if we could get some sort of assent of support from the select board. The select board says this is something we think is a good idea or a good thing. If you do, that the more support we get from every different part of the town, the historians, the seniors, the rec department, everything we can get to go to get an effective and useful survey will certainly lead us down a path that I think is important.
And it's in the town plan. So we're ahead there. So, yeah.
That's where we are.
Thank you.
So the question for us is, do we want to allow the survey at election day and allow them a table during town meeting?
So moved.
Second.
So moved and seconded to allow the, what do you call it? The Windham Regional Council Broadband Project Survey to be brought forth at election, in the town office on election day and at town meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
She's touch base with Tim on the election day, because, yeah, it's really his realm, so you're gonna make
Yeah.
sure to dovetail both. Yes, absolutely.
He's part of the
Tim.
Windham Regional.
Right, yes, he is, but just,
And he's on top,
because you
he's,
gotta get his okay before you do it
Yeah,
on election day
thank
too.
you.
Just
Yeah.
wanna thank you for that out there.
thank you all.
So, public participation on non-agenda items only.
Emergencies.
No, we tabled that one. Seeing none, correspondence and town admin report, please.
You have all the correspondence in your packets. And my report pretty much is centering around getting the annual report ready to go to the printer before the 30th of January. My goal is also to get the mailing for the town meeting morning all set to go. So that can just get brought to the post office for the door-to-door mailing in time. So hopefully you will be in good shape by the time finally.
Okay. Upcoming meeting, February 4th, and local government day.
Actually, 1 second.
Yeah.
I received an email from the fire department, and I think that the amount of scrutiny that they fall under in this town sometimes, that it deserves to be pointed out that on Sunday, they received the call to 142. Our units responded very quickly. Within 2 minutes of the call, we had a firefighter on scene that was addressing it. Upgraded the alarm, got mutual aid coming. They saved 4 animals out of the home. All the occupants were able to get out as well. The home is not able to be occupied, but all in all, they did have a good save. The structure is still standing and is rebuildable. And that is the second one in the last couple of months that they have actually been timely and efficient in, the other one being the one on Huckle Hill. But they are still 2 structures that are standing, and I think that that deserves some acknowledgement, given everything that they get criticized for.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. We are adjourned.